Lesson 19. In Lesson 19, we're talking about exponents, powers of negative numbers, roots, and evaluation of powers. There's multiple topics, but they all work together as we go through these different example problems. So, first off, let's go ahead and simplify. We know we've got an exponent here, we've got a power here, the whole thing is called a power as a whole. In the power, we have our base of 3, okay, and 2 is called the power or the exponent. You can call it either way, okay? Power or the exponent. Now, this is read as 3 squared, or 3 to the second power, and what it means is we have 3 times 3. And 3 times 3 must be equal to 9. Now our next one, 3 cubed, or 3 to the third power, must be 3 times 3 times 3. We know 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 3 is equal to 27. So 3 cubed is equal to 27. Now, 3 to the fourth power, that means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. We know 3 times 3 is 9. Well, we also know over here that 3 times 3 is 9, so 9 times 9 is just equal to 81. So 3 to the fourth power is going to give us an answer of 81. Now we might see powers that have negatives. If we have negative 3 squared, that's going to imply that we're going to solve negative 3 times negative 3. And we know negative 3 times negative 3, the opposite of a negative is a positive, so we're going to get an answer of 9. We have negative 3 to the third power. So we're going to have negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. So we've got 9 times negative 3. Well, this must be negative 27. Remember that rule we talked about recently where you can figure out the sign of the answer based on how many negative factors you have? Well, we've got 3 negative factors. That's an odd number, so we must have a negative answer. Holds true. Now, the next problem is tricky. And it's tricky because we have negative 3 to the fourth power. What we need to do, we need to do exponents first. So, we're going to put a parenthesis here. And we're going to do 3 to the fourth, which we know is 81. And then we have the negative on the outside of the parenthesis. So the answer is going to be negative 81. The reason that's on the outside of the parenthesis is because we had to do the exponent first. Okay? If there's no parenthesis around it to begin with, we imply that it's on the outside. Then negative 3 to the fourth power. So we've got negative 3 to the fourth power. Well, that's an even number of negative 3's. That must be 81. And then we're taking the negative version of that answer because it's on the outside of our parenthesis. So we've got negative 81 again. These problems require your full attention. Take your time as you go through them. Alright, square root of 64. What number times itself is equal to 64? Well, that's 8. 8 times 8 is 64. What's the fourth root of 16? That means which number multiplied by itself 4 times is equal to 16? That must be 2, because 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, or 2 to the fourth power, is equal to 16. Notice we write our answers off to the side. This is different than division. These are radical signs, meaning we're taking roots. Okay? So you put your answer off to the side, not up here. The third root of negative 27, that means what number multiplied by itself 3 times is equal to negative 27? Well, that must be negative 3, because negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 is equal to negative 27. It's got to be 27, 3 times 3 times 3, and it's got to be a negative because we have an odd number of negative factors. So we've got our answer. Now, we have negative the square root of 81. We know the square root of 81 right here. This is a positive number. You can ignore this part for the moment. The square root of 81 is 9. Then, now that we've solved this, we can deal with the negative and we can put it out in front. So we have an answer of negative 9. And that would be how we'd solve problem D. Now these problems are very valuable because we can go ahead now and evaluate expressions that have powers within them. So, remember, wherever we see a variable, we're going to substitute the value in, but first we're going to put parentheses. So I've got a parenthesis for my p, a parenthesis for my m squared, minus my z to the third power. Okay, p is equal to 1. so I'm going to put a 1 in. M is equal to -4, so I'm going to substitute a -4 in. And Z, you can see that Z is equal to -2, so we're going to substitute a -2 in. Now we can do our math. We know that we do our exponents before multiplication. Remember PEMDAS, P-E-M. Okay, exponents, multiplication. Exponents come first. DAS would complete that, but we wanted to see the very top of it. So we've got to do this exponent first. -4 to the second power. That was a mistake to put that slash through there. So we've got 1 times -4 to the second power. That means -4 times -4. -4 times -4. That must be 4 times 4 is 16. Double negative makes a positive. So we've got 16. And then we've got plus. Okay, well, let's put that plus in a moment because we've got to do the exponent first. So we're going to say minus, and then we have -2 to the third power. We have -2 to the third power. That means -2 times -2 times -2. That's going to be 8, and it's got to be -8 because we've got an odd number of factors. So we've got -8. So this is really -8. Now, that positive comes in handy because we've got 1 times 16, which is 16, plus our 8. 16 plus 8, that's going to simplify down to 24. We've got the right answer, and we're all done with this evaluation problem, even with the powers in here. Our lesson practice is going to be on page 85. Make sure you've got your notes completed. Take your time, write down any questions that you have. Come to class prepared, and I will see you soon.